All right, here we go. Game two. Cloud9 is up by one. This is do or die time for Fnatic. If they lose, they go home. They're going to have to win two in a row to get out from here. We see some adaptations in the draft. Rumble being added to the list to go along with Kalista and Maokai. Those are consistent from last game. Azir also joining the list again. And then Zaya and Orianna being banned. This is what you have to do as red team to prevent the OP combinations, right? And it's very, very important. If you're red team, if you don't have a plan, a lane that you think can dominate against Zaya Rakan, you have to ban this champion because it ends up creating a skew in the draft. If you give it to them, it's that strong, you're forced to pick Rakan, or you have to have some sort of answer. So I like that Cloud9 has gotten rid of it. We had Syndra lead off, which is actually kind of bizarre. We don't see this very often. Into a Cassante Talia. I'm surprised that we decided to go this far down in the list right now for mid laners. Right off the bat, right? You don't need to answer this way. If you've seen what their Syndra is, I'm surprised that they're not going for something stronger to lead off. They could have been a little bit more flexible if they picked themselves Kai'Sa here. They even could have gone for Kai'Sa Rel in this position, and then you have a flexible pick in Rel. Going to the backside, you end up flipping the Jarvan and the Jax over. Jax being taken as a way to try to dominate against Cassante, and Jarvan for the sheer power, also the very good synergies with Syndra. We end up getting a payoff here with Kai'Sa. Alistar and Nautilus being added to the pool. We take Sivir and Aphelios out, which I'm not a huge fan of. This is the champion you should have targeted. You should never target Aphelios over Zeri. This champion is capable of carrying these end games. I don't think Aphelios is on this patch. It's a small difference, but this is the paramount champion, especially when you have something like Jarvan on your team, where you can get benefit from those extra extra defenses. Also, Rakan was available, which is why I'm surprised that we saw Rel here. We could have taken either half of this and taken a better source if they wanted, but they ended up with Renekton flexing Cassante over to the mid lane to play against Syndra. It's going to be an immovable object, but the ability to sustain against mages was brought down over the year. Renekton's very strong into Jax, but overall, considering the strength of the Jarvan, the Jax, the Zeri, I think we're going to have a better team fight. Talia has been the worst performing champion at Worlds, something to the tune of 2-13. We'll see if that continues, whether or not we buck the trend, get some positive regression, or if she's just kind of doomed. You basically have to make proactive plays. The Talia-Cassante combination is very strong, where you can create extra barriers, extra terrain for the all-out for this game. I'm surprised that they ended up going this way, where they had multiple different opportunities for flexes, and like where do we move people, whether or not we want Talia mid, do we want someone else. It's all kind of very bizarre. They played for a lot of flexes. It seems like maybe they threw themselves a little bit for this one. So we'll see how the game goes out. All right, on to the Rift. The grind is real. We see the trophy, the Summoner's Cup. We saw multiple wards being used in this topside bush last game. We'll see if we end up having a standoff over there as well. Plus, we saw a lot of action in the river. We'll see if there's adaptations to this to try to take advantage. You should always, always, always make a play at level 1 in the game. It doesn't matter what the play is. The play should never be, let's just go find out and see what they do. There's always got to be some objective to be gained here. Even if it's small things like having Renekton park in mid and Cassante park in top for a moment, you swap these two champions and like hold vision here and then swap around. I'm fine with that. Any small amount of progressive play to get momentum on your side. You want to constantly be asking questions to your opponents, see if they come up with the wrong answers. And in this case, yeah, it's probable that Cassante's going here, and especially if you have Fudge on Renekton, but even just a moment where like, hey, wait, they might be role swapping, make them think about that, make them communicate about that rather than whatever their standard approach is going to be. We're going to have leashes from both sides. The Kai'Sa leash is incredibly strong, dealing the isolated damage, plus they have the execute, so you see that she's using that right here. They're going to accelerate the Talia along. Talia is one of those champions that benefits a lot from an early leash, because otherwise she can get kind of low in the jungle. But she will benefit from that. They're going to match up against each other. Talia should have the faster clear once you start getting to level 3. But Jarvan's going to have all that extra mobility over walls. Talia, of course, can use the terrain to give herself a speed up, kind of catch up in that avenue. We'll see top laners how they act. It first 4 waves are going to matter, since they can confirm that both junglers started with a bot to top pattern. Means that they're going to play to try to crash these waves and bring it to themselves. Jax has the early level 1 lead, but Renekton has been proven to be strong enough that you can step up into the wave, use Q1 for harass and Q2 for a big heal and push. And you can fight for that early level 2 as Renekton. So we see that he's not seeding it. They're fighting. I'm looking at the HP bars. We see bot lane, but I'm really interested in who's going to get the push, who's going to get the rebound here, whether or not it turns into anything. We actually ended up with 2 wards being used here by Cloud9, so they were uncertain about the beginning, the opening positions here. Now, one of the things that's a little bit weaker about this Cassante into Syndra pick is that Syndra's going to be able to free farm her splinters this way. In range into range, you don't necessarily get all the splinters right away. She's going to have a very fast 60, meaning all of her abilities will be powered up. The 100 will come later for the ultimate, for the execute. Oh, Taliyah being spotted. That's a big deal. And a little bit greedy with the path there. You see how much faster Taliyah got out of the jungle, by the way. Full clear and presence in top lane by 315. Looking to contest for this. Jarvan might be hiding for a moment. Blabber going to get some vision. M&S got the push. Means that they will be going for this scuttle. 2v1. Syndra's coming over. Razork might be feeling pretty good about this. He doesn't mind going for EQ. Yeah, you get stunned, but it happens during your travel time anyways. We end up with the double bonk on the stuns. Beautifully done. They're going to engage on Razork. It's all going to be about this first blood. That is a habit left over from years and years of Smite giving you a heal, where he actually used the Smite there to try to get nothing. I don't know. Like, you just don't gain anything from that. Back that up and slow. Right, yeah, it's just like completely blank. Here, beautiful job in the beginning. Fudge not quite being sticky enough. You also had to step back from Blabber here, potentially thinking that they couldn't continue this fight. But look, you see that position stepping backwards, a mistake. Fudge is feeling super, super strong here. You need to give him that backup. Plus, we get the knockups, get the extra flashes. Beautifully done there. But the big advantage going to Fnatic, making it to the play second, showing that it is possible to react even when you don't have prio. You can just get their second. Often getting their second means you can have a better time in the fight anyways. Razork next cast of Smite is available, ends up using it right away. Going back for the base, he's got the assist, so they're going to be very happy. Let's take a look at the play again. All right, so Oscarinian has the first approach here. Look at that, stun into stun into stun to lead off. They actually could have overlapped that a little bit better. M&S had his W up. He actually would have been completely one-shot if he didn't get that all out to start. Feels bad for Cloud9. You put all that effort into getting out there faster. They got the tag on you. They realize that you're going to try to make that rotation for that top scuttle. And the Crabber teams are going to return for sure. Although that time he definitely wasn't in for it. Back to his Razork. They kind of misplayed around there, right? Like, that Smite just doesn't do anything for you anymore. All right, bot lane, we're going to look for a crash. This is a moment where you normally see the Rel jump out of the lane for a moment to help Kai'Sa get to the early spike. They want to get that roam. They want to see if they can get this crash in. And then Rel will go off and roam into the top lane, maybe create a little bit of presence for mid lane, or even linger long enough for the Herald. But you want to get these level spikes coming out. Here you see how Rel's stepping to the side as they're getting those last minions in. Oh, all out being used nice and early. Gets to level 6, using a level spike here. M&S taking advantage of level 6. Beautiful use of level up timers. You get the wave in. Anytime you can get the wave in before them, that's a chance for you to get these plays. Both of the laners a little bit late to 6 because of that rotation that they had in the river. But M&S realizing that, all right, that's fine. We missed a little bit. We come back to this situation. I'm definitely hitting 6 right now and aptly going after the engage with that spike. This is what we were talking about. Rel steps to the side, so you get level 5 on your carry while you stay level 4. You could both share all of the experience, and you'll stay at level 4.99. right? You'll both be 1 minion away from getting it, but instead, if you just walk away, you get this level 5. Means you're a little bit stronger for this fight. This is paramount for these fights in the river. Just having that little bit of extra stats going into it, and then when you come back to the wave, you're still going to hit 5 off the next minion anyways. So just a nice optimization that you can use. You can do it in your solo queue games as well. That's absolutely something that's timed. Knowing all your level up timers, knowing the exact minion that's going to get you or your opponent there, it's such a big deal. And then you have champions like Nila that change the rules of everything. Nice little knock up right there. Taliyah going with a little peel. Flash to the side to not get hit by Zeri. And Fnatic again going into the river, just being a little bit stronger. This is where you have to be careful, right? A champion like Jarvan, and if you get into prolonged fights, you have to favor fighter over mage. Mage is going to be done with 1 spell rotation. And after that, what do you have left? Now, it is Taliyah. She's going to be able to Q spam a little bit. But as a mage, you have to make sure that you're getting in those extra auto attacks. It's not just about the spells. Much easier to play fighters, especially when you get the extra attack speed from Jarvan's E. We have an engage here, beautifully done by M&S. Actually doesn't have the all-out. He's only about 5 or 10 seconds away from it. That would have been insane if he could have punished Razork for that. Answering the EQ with his W. That he gets away unscathed. It also looks like we're going to see a fast Abyssal Mask. This is something I love to see from fighters into mages, and something you should always look to take advantage of. Now, there is a chance that we're just turning this into an early Megatron cloak into something else, going for some other build pattern, but I like to see Abyssal Mask early, where you just come in, you just start walking up, taking all their resistances, going into the fight and saying, yeah, I'm big enough, like, let's go. But a very common thing at this level is just buy Megatron Cloak, get all the resistances from it. K'Sante less in need of Merc Treads than mages, right? Mages would always go Merc Treads into Syndra or Nico because you have to dodge the combos. K'Sante saying, no, I'm beefy enough. I can actually do it with stats and just walk forward. All right. Oh, no, we got flash forward. Was that the W being countered by Counter-Strike? That'd be a big punt if that were the case. We see Razork actually looking to be strong here, potentially going for a Cataclysm. Could have hit 3 people under the turret like that. Just Cataclysm, wait for your cooldown, use your R and then EQ out. Try to trap them under there as long as possible, or use your Q on the wave. All right, here we go. We're going to have another contest for the Rift Herald. Taliyah moving in, jumping over that, but in the face of Syndra and Jarvan. I would have preferred that she wait for a cooldown, right? Try to get the spells out, react to the spells, make them put them on cooldown so that your team can get something in return. Instead, by early flashing out, it just means that you're down a flash and they get to move back in and they collect the wave. They don't lose a plate for it. If you make them step up, maybe they're a little bit more hesitant about rotating out and coming back to that lane with maybe missing an E cooldown from the Syndra, for example. Cloud9 is going to turn this momentum into pressure in the southern quadrant. They're going to have to play against Zeri, which is always very difficult. She's going to play very well in these jungle camps, using the W over the terrain. Also, she can E herself out to safety, so she's always very, very safe. But look at the lingering vision that they placed down. Even though they didn't get anything down, 4 wards being used, 5 actually. 5 wards being used for some redundant vision here. That means they absolutely want to fight for this dragon. They have the slight gold lead. Kai'Sa may go for a return soon. Should be probably looking. It looks like we're gonna have a Stormrazor build. Again, this build builds very neatly into your item combinations to get all of your upgrades. But in general, I prefer the Kraken Slayer Navori build, or the one that we've spoken about a lot, which is Umbral Glaive, Collector, and Rageblade. So you can get the fast Q spike, and then you can play it for your on-hit spike later. And against champions like Jarvan, Rakan, Jax, melees that are jumping into range, it gives you a lot of chances to deal a lot of upfront damage. This game, there's probably no meaningful tank being built. Wouldn't have minded just the Umbral Glaive build as well from Kai'Sa. Now here's what we see, right? Early Megatron Cloak, and then just going to continue building the Iceborne Gauntlet. That is something that we missed. Summit against Rumble, first game of the tournament, ended up rushing Iceborne Gauntlet into Rumble. It's like, what are you actually looking to accomplish? Hold on, we got a big fight here. All Out trying to peel Razork, but he ends up getting out with his own Q. They get the 1 kill for themselves, which means that's going to be under the Dragon play. That is super unfortunate for Cloud9 to invest this many resources, all those wards that you put into the jungle, plus you rotated Renekton over, and you came over for this fight, and it ends up turning for you. That is going to be disastrous for Fnatic. Cloud9 is going to want that back. But like I said, Summit went and just rushed Iceborne Gauntlet into Rumble and paid the price, right? Even if you want Iceborne Gauntlet, you do have to nod. Your first item always has to give you some amount of capacity to fight your lane. See the Weaver's Wall here, Humanoid jumping over, Trimby with good peel. Beautiful up front, multiple lockdowns there. Good job getting all that damage. Trimby even soaking up one more auto from the turret allows Razork to get out. That is going to be a crazy amount of momentum in Fnatic's hands. Plus with this Kai'Sa, especially with the Stormrazor build, you're not getting as much scaling as Kraken Slayer and Navori. Renekton going to fall off. Talia going to be a little bit weaker in those endgame stages unless you can find that perfect Weaver's Wall for the team. Nice little knock up here. Trimby should bite the dust. Even a Rakan, even a slippery Rakan can be punished. Kai'Sa is going to be the big benefactor of this. They do get the kill, obviously, onto Blabber, which is nice, but Kai'Sa having some alone time on the turret is a big deal as well. Looks like they're actually coming in. They're not waiting. All right, so normally you'd want to wait until someone actually took damage before you made this teleport. We'll see whether or not they... Oh, never mind. They have Jarvan flanking, so they already had a good spot. Good answer in reply. People already in position, turns that into a 3v2. Kai'Sa cannot join the fight because they're stuck behind the minion wave. They're trying to push it up. Would have liked to get the team moving over to this area so you can consolidate or reposition yourselves as a team. Fnatic taking advantage of the rushed play. They're also going to use this opportunity as just, all right, Syndra's down bottom, teleports down. We'll just move Zeri to mid. Notice how Syndra's not the one rotating over. Uh-oh, Jax. Here we go. Anytime you use your E first, whoever uses E first in this matchup tends to lose. The fact that Renekton dashes means that Oscarini is able to just take his E and fight. And see a flash. Oh, beautiful. Moving. Oh my gosh, last play. Blabber well played to get there. Oscarini almost getting the difference. I'm kind of wondering whether or not Jax could have actually just flashed on top of her, get behind her, make it so that the stones are going at wrong angle. Especially with Counter-Strike being open, right? Ended up flashing. What if he uses Counter-Strike plus flash? Be interesting to see. All right, we have a teleport forward, early Cassante. This is always going to favor Cassante playing against a mage, but this champion will do best. Again, immobile mage in the side lane can't really side lane. All right, what you're looking to accomplish is just erasure of the wave and then rotate over. So you want to have some amount of vision that covers your path. Hold on, we'll watch the fight here. Blabber being punished for an overstay here, trying to get that push up in the top lane. A little bit greedy, gets caught out by these highly mobile champions. But yeah, if as a Syndra, as an Orianna, what you're looking to do is just erase the wave and then rotate over and get into this area where you can help at range, right? You can go and contest if any sort of fight does break out. Instead, she steps up a little bit too far, contests the wave against Cassante, and Cassante just takes it to him. Merc Treads and Megatron in hand means that they're going to have that early advantage. They do get the Iceborne Gauntlet, which will help to slow them down. Like I was saying about the Megatron Cloak, this is actually a modal item for Cassante, right? Normally this is just a pure defensive item on most champions, but it's sort of like building armor on Malphite. Part of his scaling is his armor. In this case, Cassante, part of his scaling is his resistances. So buying Megatron Cloaks, buying armor pieces, that's going to be very good for their scaling. And it's something that allows them to get better combos off, the Q cast time going down, and all sorts of the kit. You can look, it's actually a completely unique set where all of his cooldowns change based on his health and the cast time changes. It's actually pretty bizarre. I like the idea of the concept, but obviously they created a monster that is about 90% present at 2 consecutive world championships. All right, gold is even, dragons are even. We've got next dragon in less than a minute. We'll see who opts to go for it. Kai'Sa being in the top lane means that they probably think that they're not going for it, but this is Renekton on the team, so they probably want to try to flex over for this as much as possible. Kai'Sa's actually rotating from top down into the river. That can get you in trouble. It looks like Casante's coming over at the same time to escort her over. We'll finally get the right position here for the AD carry. I don't know how they ended up with Kai'Sa up in the top lane, but obviously something you want to avoid. Right now you want Casante there because you've got the teleport, which means that you'll be able to join the fight. Teleport's also available for Jax and Syndra, meaning they should have the macro advantage, plus they have the Jarvan Demacian standard that they can get exactly the teleport that they want going into any of these fights. C9 saying that we can actually take our strength into the side lane here. We're going to get knockups. CWR combined. Sven not playing for any miss or anything that can get outplayed. Says we want this kill. We still have Casante available for a teleport. They could actually look to contest this. I'm surprised that Sven's not rotating over. He's opting to help with the push. So the call is give dragon. We're going to push mid. We're going to hold this entire area and push this as well. They're going to set themselves a line of scrimmage saying we control everything on the top half of the map. And that will help us to prepare for the Baron in 2 minutes. Something that has been done many times in this tournament is this play exactly where you give this up and you create this line of scrimmage, but every other time they then go back into this eastern quadrant inexplicably. The whole point of this is to say we own this area, all right? It's ours. This belongs to Cloud9. We need to force you to come into this area. Casante with his teleport available, very safe as a tank. He should go over. All the other champions right now should be looking to push up in mid lane and then say, we've got this vision line. We can control all the rotations that go towards the river. If you want to beat this as Fnatic, you have to answer the push and win the push in the mid lane. Something that they're more than capable of doing with a Jarvan, Zeri, and Syndra combination means that they could just look for those all-ins. The Stormrazor build, what I hate about it is that Kai'Sa has a big problem with trying to fight for Prio because she's basically a one attack Stormrazor buff. It doesn't do enough for them. She can't clear the wave well enough. It means that Zeri's always going to have that advantage. You see that they push up, they have to seed. Weaver's Wall is actually coming over. They're looking to take this. They're actually trying to punish Fudge on Renekton. That's a very difficult dive to go after. They end up getting it, and there's no punish as of yet. Kai'Sa very late on this rotation. How did people get up? Good proactive play by Fnatic saying we're going to play through topside and actually fight you. But you see what this is? This right here is a complete lack of understanding of what mid-game macro needs to look like. This needs improvement, all right? We've seen a lot of strides from Sven adapting to the position. I'm going to assume that these are Sven's wards and no one else's because they only have Renekton. He was just top. You just put all of your effort into creating this parallel here, right? You separated North and South Korea, right? You're just like, this is you, this is us. Sorry that, NA has to be North Korea in this case, but you want to demarcate this line. You don't want these words. These are meaningless. They don't do anything for you. In fact, they deter because they lose you the wards that you placed on the top half of the map. It is a egregious mistake as a support, not understanding what the warding lines will mean for your team. The worst part about this for C9 is that it's one death after another. One, then one, then one. They're strong on this type of the map. I like at the end that Kai'Sa spent some time to go after the turret and get something back for themselves. But ultimately, that is going to be a game-changing team fight. Fnatic should have the game truly in hand now. Killing that turret, getting those kills means that they're going to be able to set up this arc of vision for themselves. Again, we're going to see a lot of battle for mid lane prio. That's going to be where the battle is going to come from. Renekton's going into the bot lane. Has been dove in twice recently, which is kind of crazy. That's normally not how you play against Renekton, but if you do, you have to go all out. You have to put all of your eggs into that basket, make sure that you secure that kill, and hopefully do it without using all of your resources or getting them down quick enough that they come back up. Actually, you know what? I bet this is just strictly an exploit to this. This should be Merc Treads. Like Merc Tread's insane here, insane here, insane here. It even stops the charm here. There's stops the slow from Jarvan. I think this is just completely wrong to build plated steel caps here. So perhaps they're saying, wait, he's got plated steel caps. We can just lock him down and we can go for the fights. It means that we're not getting enough either missing empowered Qs or Gore Drinker activations. It means Renekton's biting the dust without getting his full combos off or his sustain off. Now, interesting play from Fnatic. This is something when we talk about game theory optimal, 60% of the time you do what's the absolute best play in the book. 30% you do something else that's good, and then 10% you want to do something that is good against both of these, or good against the answers to both of those. In this case, if you expect enemy team to say, all right, you know what, we may just like poke and defend against Baron with poking, and we'll put Renekton strong on this side, then Fnatic goes for an exploit where they try to play for that. They try to dive the Renekton again. It does mean that they seed this vision, perhaps trapping Cloud9 into this position, but now it's much of a coin flip. We've got Rel with a beautiful engage stepping forward, but the rest of the team is out of position. We don't have the continuation. Fudge, what are you doing? You need to get into this fight. You have to join in. Yes, you just use your ultimate. Yes, you don't have it available anymore, but you have full stacks of your Fury. You need to be able to get into this fight. That is a concession. The game is over, basically calling for FF votes by not continuing for that fight. Means Fnatic gets to have their cake and eat it too. 4 people are dead. This game is in hand. We'll see what their end game technique is. Fudge perhaps just using this too quick, right? This is not your job. It's not your job to be the one skating out and going all the way to the far side of the map. And if it is, you go back out, you use the blast cone, and you get back in. This is where Renekton needs to be, right? You need to be right up there. Cassante is going to be one defending the position. I want to slow this down and back it up and look at the positions, right? From this spot, right? Renekton going all the way over here means that you just don't have what you need. You have perfect position from Cassante right in front of your carries. You've got Berserker and Blabber on the other side of MNS. If Renekton were in this spot right here, then we would have seen him pincer in, and we would have seen this hammer to the anvil collapse, right? Where you go, you force the team fight, you say, we're going to squeeze you in this direction, or force you all the way out, and then we come in, we take this Baron for ourselves. Instead, by going all the way out, it means that we have only the front line of MNS and Sven. Sven will have some amount of engage, but not that much capacity to stymie the fight. Trimby's also going to have a perfect avenue where he can just bundle everybody up with the swiftness grand entrance combination. Razor can even stay in the pit. He's already got the ability to go for the smite here. And then you've got the front lines drawn right here. Compare the two lineups, right? Where we have Oscarini with Jax. All right, so he's going to be able to front for this. Noah and Humanoid already in damage range, whereas Berserker's not quite in damage range. Razork also able to join this fight, whereas this one is not. Now, Rakan is the one that you could say is the least in position, but he was doing a job, right? Making sure that they weren't coming this way, saying like, this might be the most common path. I want to be able to defend against it. Instead, puts the ward out, realizes that they came this way, so he comes to counter. He's looking to take the whole team, bundle them up. Jarvan's already got the inside track, and then he'll rejoin, and this is how play out the fight. Kind of see, take everything off the map. See how easy it is for Fnatic to take that fight because Fudge is in the completely wrong position. It is not your job to be escaping out the back of the pit and then not coming immediately back in. All right, another death, and importantly, it is Talia, which is your #1 way of breaking sieges, is the Weaver's Wall. That's another thing that we've seen as far as like Talia comps, what you're trying to accomplish. You want to make walls that give you a proactive way to approach the fight. And again, ask your opponents questions. How are you going to deal with this wall right here? Are people going to jump out? Is Zeri going to jump over? Jarvan, Jax, like all these guys can jump over except for Syndra. But are you going to do that, or are you going to fight us? And if you're going to fight us, then you're going to have to deal with a pincer coming in. We had good position from Rel and from Cassante separated. MNS there to block as much damage as possible. Rel ready to engage. Renekton needed to be in position to come in over the top. They just didn't have that available to themselves. Oh, Razork inting a little bit. There was nothing to gain there. We'll see. Cloud9 should try to take the maximum. I love this teleport by M&S. He should say, let me go fight Humanoid, pull him into the team. Might even see an all-out right there into the team, into the Talia. Beautiful combination of abilities means that they get one pick back for themselves. So we're breathing some life back into Cloud9. That said, Fnatic has gotten all 3 of the inner turrets down. They've got a tremendous gold lead going into the end game right now. 6K to their advantage. They're still going to have the advantage going into the dragon fight for Soul. It is Chemsoul, worst one in the game for the combat, although going late and tenacity can be good into some engagers like this, especially when they have portions of their abilities that deal stuns. Talia, Renekton, a lot of stuns here, so you might see a fight blow up. Blow sidestep by Blabber. Still gets popped. You see the execute coming in from the splinters. That's the 100 bonus from Syndra. Razork potentially thinking that they could have 100 to 0 right here. Almost get it, but Berserker are able to reposition. Very tough pick to go on to Kaisa, and to do it blind is just pretty sus. Like, there's nothing... You'd have to get lucky for that to work. Right, you're doing everything blind, you're doing it over the wall, you're doing it against Kaisa, so there's even a chance that if you don't perfectly time everything, that she's just able to reposition in the fight anyways, give herself that big shield, and move along from there. We do see the Storm Razor Rageblade build, so we know it's Nashor's Tooth next. That gives you all 3 upgrades. I do think that the 100 AP upgrade is important on Kaisa. There's a lot of AD builds that want to play for that front-to-back fight, but most of her play pattern, when you look at this stage of the game, is... lots of sieging, lots of poking with W. It's not so much about the Q. It's about making sure that you can translate over. That's why we like that Rageblade Collector build into Nashor's Tooth, because it gives you that play in the end game, and then Rageblade becomes your front to back, and you also get all that pen to go with the W. Here we go. We're forcing the fight. Renekton coming in. We've got really good shape. Let's pause for a second. Take a peek at the beginning of this fight. Hold on. You see the Renekton coming in, so we see Cassante starting off with the W already. Would have rather this not be on cooldown. Kaisa should be looking to join the fight already. Renekton's already flanking and looking to get into position, so Kaisa should maybe be positioning right here. Opting to hold on for a moment. Let's go forward just a bit. Okay, we see Sven engaging, but just onto one. We get the airborne here, getting one pick. This is not Zeri, right? This is Humanoid. So going on to Syndra, they really want to blow up Syndra because she's immobile, because she can be popped, and you make sure that then you're left with just Zeri. The problem is that Zeri can carry fights from this position. Again, Kaisa has not rejoined the fight yet. I don't know what's going on, why she hasn't rejoined. She already should be in. Ooh, going very deep in. All right, so this is not the best angle. You want to make sure that you're outside of the age, which means Rakan is going to be able to suck these people in. Sven should be able to die, and people dying before Renekton gets into a fight is a problem. Humanoid, we see the continuation, so they do get the fight, they get the kill, but they've already lost 2 champions. Berserker being less than a non-contributor into this fight. Just R's in, gets a Q, and then dies. Nothing left, so now we're going to have AD carry versus no AD carry. This is always going to favor Fnatic. So I'm just cleaning up the fight. Look at what Noah's doing. Just spacing the Renekton, beautiful damage up in front. Jax is able to play strong. That's going to be the end of the game. They're going to step up. They do have to be careful of this turret damage. Oh, actually gets hit before Sonya's. They can take this down. With 18 seconds left, they should end the game with this wave. Noah should actually go up and tank 1 turret hit. I don't know why you're casting W. You don't want that against the minion wave. Or not. You obviously don't care. It spawns too late. Fnatic wins it. Just outplaying that last team fight. Just like insane, right? You look at the position, how it starts. Things look very good for this flank position. But again, if you're Blabber, you need to set some sort of like wall right here and be at this angle throwing the Weaver's wall behind them, right? This right here, you want to be doing this to the enemy team and ask them, are you fighting on this side or are you fighting on this side? And if you're staying on this side, then you're corralled in. You've got beautiful lines of sight for everyone on our team to deal damage to you. It makes it very easy for Cassante to just position himself right here. Position himself right here. Make a line between himself and the carries. You have the carries setting up at 2 different positions, making sure that they're out of range of the Rakan engage, and then you can just go, and it's kind of like shooting fish in a barrel, especially once you have the flank coming in here from Renekton. Instead, we don't get that. Instead, as we move forward, no wall. Means that we're dealing with Cassante up in front. Now, this is still okay, right? We've got a beautiful teleport here, but no one should be looking to take extra damage, especially not the carries, right? So Blabber and Berserker need to be positioning so that they're dealing fight. Right now would have been a fine time for Kai'Sa to ult right over here, right? You already have one lockdown. That's enough to go in, start getting your auto attacks off, especially since you're this Rageblade build where you want to be stacking. Right now, if you're looking about where to position, it needs to be away from the back of the fight. It does not need to be into the position right here just to deal this front. Yes, you like the idea of isolating your damage, but look at these minions that are going to soak that up anyways. Ends up going all the way forward out of turret range and against the turret. So this is just really, really bizarre positioning. Ends up being at the exact same time as Rakan ultimate, which means they're getting locked up together. Jarvan puts them into the box as well. And you see, like, Zeri's able to deal damage to Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa deals nothing back. Just a significant teamfight diff. This is still the difference for NA versus the world, right? EU has improved their team fighting. China and Korea still head and shoulders above everybody. NA is just lagging so far behind because they don't respect what their job is. We saw it from Team Liquid, the early excusal from the tournament. We see it again here from Cloud9. Big diff needs to be improved.